Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and today we're here with another episode of Mini Monday. Yay, Mini Monday. Today we're going to do some a little bit harder foundation paper piecing, but it's good. We still have some beginner blocks on the bottom here, but we are going to piece separate pieces and then join them together. I'm going to show you how, give you a few tips on how to join these things together. But first, before we get into anything on the sewing, let's do our shout out. Phistina has been on my radar, and her YouTube link is going to be in the show notes below. And her stuff is a lot of fun. You guys got to go check her out. So when you do, tell her Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you. And, you know, and if you like what you see there, hit her subscribe button, okay? Now, first up is Spring Fling is underway. Spring Fling with Strings, try and say that 9 times fast, is underway, and Quilt Bingo will come up shortly after, like maybe a couple episodes after. And it's Quilt Bingo is a skill builder, and it's great for beginners, intermediate, or the more experienced people as well, because everybody gets a bingo card, right? So you can play around and have fun and do whatever you want on yours. So, but without giving away too many tips on Quilt Bingo, that's coming up after Spring Fling. We also have in our show notes, or the description box, is Zoom sew dates that are coming up from now until the end of December, and we have so much fun in those. And it's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and it's usually the first Saturday of the month. But, you know, we have grandkids and, you know, that kind of thing. So we might have to change around the dates a bit. Also, share, like, and subscribe. We see over half of you are still not subscribed. We would love it to be your, you know, like, in your subscription. But we understand if you're not subscribing. But helping us would make comments and doing that thumbs up. That, even if you've got, all you've got is time to put a heart down, that would help us out so much. And we would love hearing from you. Also, we have a Facebook group, and we have a virtual sewing room for the Facebook group that's hosted by Discord, and it is so much fun in there. The people are actually becoming friends in there that are sewing in there every day. We do fabric exchanges by country to save on postage, and we have numerous community chats, and some of those chats are just wonderful. I also speak for free to quilting guilds and quilting groups, and I talk about elements of design, I talk about working with scrap fabrics, and I talk about making charity quilts. So if your group or guild is looking for any of those topics, keep me in mind. I'll try my best to accommodate them with a date. Also, shout outs. If you guys see a shout out, especially like a quilting channel that's related to quilting, you know, let me know. Either send it to me by email or message me through the Facebook group. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, come on in. Let's work on cats. Okay, we're at the sewing machine, and I want to point out the bottom. This pattern right here was inspired by Future Cat from New Zealand, and I'm going to try and remember to put her YouTube link, their YouTube link, in show notes below too, because she showed this to, they showed this to us during the community challenge, and oh my gosh, I thought this was the cutest little idea ever, and I thought this would be perfect. So we're gonna cut out the most complex one and just get that out of the way. And it comes in 2 parts. Now, there's instructions. Now I'm cutting through the instructions that says sew together, but that's okay. So you got your paper scissors that you need, your scoring tool, because this has already been scored, and this will leave you little lines that you can see from the back, so you know where you're putting stuff and all the rest of this, right? So that's kind of important to do. And you need to add a quarter ruler or some ruler that will help you, you know, cut your fabrics. Tape is your friend in this, because as you're sewing, sometimes with your with a sharp needle and smaller stitch length, you know, the paper starts to fall apart. So tape is always nice to have really handy. If I'm doing something really complex, I will want pens. And because I'm working with orange, I just want to make little X's over where the orange goes. And that usually helps me with where everything is going to go. So it's like, on this one, it's let's see, 2, 3, and 4, and then here it's 2 and 3, right? So, I mean, that's where I'm going to put my cat colors. The rest is all background color, right? So, if I was doing something really complex, this kind of any set of, like pencil, ink, you know, whatever, colored markers will help you to determine what color goes where. So, that's always helpful to have, and I keep those close at hand. They've been missing for months. They have been missing for months in our sewing room. So, yeah. So, I chose a bundle of white on whites because I figure, well, that's going to get me farther today than anything else. Then I'm just going to square this off because I don't need a real big piece. I do need, there we go. So that is pet bed material, and this goes back into the white on white crumbs because it doesn't know where else to go. Now I'm going to turn this over onto the back, and because I've scored this, I can actually lay my piece down, which is bigger than needs to be, but that's okay. I can actually lay the piece down, and if I want, I can pin it in place. Sometimes when you pin little pieces, what happens is that it curves your work, right? So now this work has got a curve like that because I went in this way with the needle, so it's now curved. Now, if you're doing really lots and lots and lots of tiny complex piecing, that might not be a good idea. So I'm just going to fold between 1 and 2 just to figure out where I have to put my orange piece to cover. You know, I had, at the beginning, I had a big piece of orange, and I decided I want to do this scrappy last minute. And I was just like, okay, let's get some really scrappy, happy orange going. And I want some really dark contrast between the colors. There we go. I got some of this. I got one of these and one of these. That'll work. So I just want some really bright contrast. I don't want it too you know, this piece, of course, is way too big, but we're going to put it on anyways because it is what it is. Now, I have shortened my stitch length. Let's see, where are we here? Turn this on. I've shortened my stitch length to 25 to 30 stitches an inch, and what's going to happen is I'm going to just flip it over, and I'm going to sew between 1 and 2. Now, I got my original foot on that came with this machine, and basically, there we go. I'm just going to hold it in place while I stitch a couple extra stitches, and there we go. There we go. That's the first bit. Yay! Now, with this, I need a larger piece of white, and I think that one's going to be big enough, but I'm going to square it off. Just square it off like that. There. So that one is going to go, one is going to go this way. Here we go. One is going to go this way, and now a bigger orange piece like this. I'm going to just trim this just a hair. There we go. Wrong. Oh no, I've cut it wrong. Okay, well, how is that going to work? No, that's not going to work. Well, we'll just go this way. We'll do overkill big. There, we'll go overkill big. That's fine. And it's all scraps. It's on its last legs. So now I'm going to work, basically I'm working on the second piece right away. Now I hold my work to kind of knot it. You know, I don't, you know, I just let it go up and down the same spot. Okay, now we'll get to the other side, which is already a little triangle. So now I'm going to open the piece up between 3 and 1. There. Yeah, doing these this way is so much easier. But you can get some really complex little bits on here with just by doing very simple little things like this. Okay, now I'm going to lay it out like that. Okay, lift up my foot, pull through, there, and put it down. There we go. There. There we go. Okay, now 3. Okay. Now, is that big enough going that way? Yes, it is. Oh, wow. Okay, so now I'm going to, so 3 on this one. You just, you know, it's kind of a, it's kind of nice to have it all marked. Okay, what color you're going to use now, what color you're going to use next, you know, that kind of thing. I'm going to throw that one out. That's small enough. Okay, now I need a long, skinny piece that is orange. And it only has to be 1/4 inch. Now if I take this piece, it would fit. It would fit. Okay, I'm going to just pull it back just a hair, just to make sure it fits. Okay, there we go. So now we're just working on the tail here. There. Now, on this one, we're going to work on the body. Now, we could have the body all the same color, but that would be kind of boring. So we're going to do a different color here. Yeah, since Albert passed, it's been a very quiet little household here. And it's the first time in probably decades that I have been without a cat and underfoot, causing issues. So, yeah, it's been very weird here. It's been very, very strange here. We did go looking at other cats the other day, but it was hard. It's hard to look at another cat now, right? Because I mean, he was such a cute little fuzz bunny. There we go. Now I'm just doing a big long body. So there we go. There. Okay. There we go. Now. Okay, so something that I need to fix. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to put poverty piecing into play here just because I can. I don't have coverage. Okay, I'm going to show you what I don't have. I don't have coverage for this corner, right? Because this piece, this white piece here, does not reach up high enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to poverty piece another white on white right on top of it. I'm just going to lay it out like that. And I'm just going to put a little stitch down, and because it's on both ends are in the seam allowance, it'll be fine, right? That is what I call poverty piecing, you know, and that happens to all of us. We sit there and we think, oh no, it's big enough, I have enough. No. No, you don't, but that's okay. Now I'm just going to cut this off, and this is a good square for something else. I'll just pitch it back in. Yeah, I've been digging. Okay, now last off is the white background here. So we want to get this all lined up. Okay, there we go. And you have very little waste here with this. But the more of this you do with your crumbs, the better you get at judging. Now, also keep in mind, as you go through this, you're going to, you know, get better and better at like doing things like poverty piecing, identifying, oh man, I'm short here, I'm short there. You know, that all comes with some experience. And don't be afraid, like if you make a mistake, that's fine. You know, you just add another piece on. Nobody knows what it was supposed to look like, right? So now this is the one we poverty pieced, and I'm just going to finger press this out of the way, just like so. And I'm going to trim off all that extra bit there that doesn't need to be there, including the, get rid of all of that. I'm going to throw that one back into the orange because it's a good size. And now the last piece on here is a long skinny white. There it is, a long skinny white one. There's perfect. There we go. And we line it all up. Here, get that over. And where is this? There we go. Okay, so now we've got both pieces finished, right? All the all the stuff has been, finger pressed and everything else, just like we needed it to be. Okay, and we're just going to finger press this over. You would, at this point, would be taking a hot iron to it, right? Okay, so these two pieces get sewn together, but if we just sew them together now, you've got extra stuff in there that you don't need, right? So what we have to do is we have to square it off to where it needs to be. There we go, just like that. And like that. Okay, I need a real ruler, I guess. Measures. This is going to measure 3.5 by 2 inches. So you want that to line up right perfect. Okay, and last bit, this is 3.5, has to measure 3.5. 3.5 this way, 2 inches this way, right? There we go. Perfect. So that's the bottom and the tail, the cat's bottom. Now we're going to measure this here, just like so. 2 inches. Oops. Oh, I'm right on the hinge. That's why it's not sitting. That's why it's not sitting right. There we go. So that's 2 inches, and then this has to be 3.5. There we go. And okay, now it has to measure 3.5. 3.5 by 2 inch. It's perfect on the 2 inch. Let's see if we can get this other way. Yep. Okay, now we are going to join these two pieces just like that, right? Now, because they're the same size, you could basically go through and just, hit them like this. Make sure all the stuff, the poverty piecing is going the right way, and just sew along that line. But if you are working some really complex, thing, what you'd want to do is you'd want to mark in your corner here. You'd want to drop a pin right at the corner, and then come out at the corner on this piece. Because you want to basically pin match this so you have perfection. Right now you would do the same to the other side. You go in right at the corner, and then of course it's got to run away and spin and all the rest of the stuff. And then you'd want to go in right at the corner here. Get your match up where you have to sew. Right, is what we're doing. So you've got 2 pins here. Can you see the pins? And you've got them both matching up right on the corner. So now you can just tip them if you want, which will also, when you tip them, it creates a curve like this. So if you get some really delicate points, get the double-ended pins, to do that, to make your tipping, to put your tipping needle in. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go right through here like so. Okay, remember these are supposed to be fun, not stressful. If it's making you stress out to do these, this way or whatever, that rethink what you're doing. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to open this so you can see how perfect that looks with the cat. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this open just to reduce some fabric stress. Now I'm also going to peel off the paper here because I can. Because it's all it's going to do is get into the seam allowance and cause more stuff to go on. So let's get rid of that paper. And just this, the only paper you're getting rid of is where the seam is, right? Because you don't need it there anymore. So now I'm all papered out. Okay, I got all the paper out. I got a little pile of paper and a little pile of fabric. And I'm going to put it just like so. And lay this down as best flat as I can. And then I'm going to put this down and do my stay stitching around the very outer edge of all of it. Because once I got my stay stitching done, now I can pull off all of the paper, right? And it's very quick, very fun little way of making a cat block. Okay. And there we are. Okay, so there we are. I'm just going to show you that stay stitching. See, the stay stitching, what it does is help stabilize it. Now, when you pull the paper off, you're not going to have a bunch of distortion here because there's a whole bunch of, some is on bias, some is on straight grains, you know, some of it's on unknown. I mean, and this way it's going to turn out just perfect for you. So let's get to our big ta-da moment. All right, let's say goodbye. Okay, so here is our mini cat. Wasn't this fun? This was just so much fun to do. There are 3 different cats. Now, on one of the cats, like the bottom left-hand corner cat, I drew a little cat face that you can embroider on. Like you could embroider on a little cat face here or on the other cat as well. I mean, it does just give the cat silhouette, you know, and this one too, it's got the, you know, the tail up in the air. I had so much fun with drawing these. I was like, oh, we could have so much more fun. I don't know. No, we need to end this soon. We've got a couple more ideas coming, a few more ideas coming, and then we're going to move on to something else. Everybody liked Blue Monday. Well, we're going to pick another color and do Color Monday. And I haven't figured out which color I'm overrun with yet because I'm still kind of like unpacking fabric. So, but anyways, I do hope you give these a try. They are just so much fun. They're just like really, really cute. And the papers do come off very quickly. Like, yeah, I just use printer paper and, you know, it doesn't take long at all to rip off all the paper on the back. I mean, you can use tweezers if you want. You can use whatever to pull out all the paper, but because you've got the seam allowance paper out already, it's much easier to peel. Now the stay stitching does make the outer edge a little bit more challenging, but once you get the inside done, it just falls off. Sometimes it'll just fall off and you're not distorting your block. That is the most important, is that you're not distorting your block. So that's all the inside paper. Now here's all the outside paper. And it just, you know, it comes off. Just poofta, we're done. And there we go. Just a little bit more to do. There we go. And some of it, like I say, I gotta take it off with the tweezers. No, I don't. Okay, there it is. It's all peeled. It's all done. And it didn't take, you saw how long it took, right? And once you've got your stay stitching on, you can peel off all your paper. It's fine. Okay, so you guys, I hope you have a wonderful week ahead and life is just treating you so grandly. And I want you to stay well and take care until we meet each other again. Okay, bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life and, you know, your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your life and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.